Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from the Bolter9 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, am I the arsehole here for cancelling my mum's birthday dinner and taking her out to eat without my brothers? I'm having a mild panic attack because I acted out of frustration and don't know if that makes me an arsehole in this situation or not. My mum's birthday was last week. My family, myself, my 3 younger brothers, their SOs and my mother made plans to do dinner at my mum's place tonight. I planned to buy and cook all the food and the cake, and then my brothers and I were going to go in on a big gift for my mum. We've been planning this for weeks. I've been busy with work, so I wasn't able to go get the gift earlier this week, but texted my brothers in group chat today and sent a screenshot of the gift, let them know I was going to pick it up, reminded them of the dinner time, and asked them to send me their share of the money. All of them then chose to inform me that they didn't have money to pitch in, which normally doesn't bother me. I understand that the world is rough right now and everything is expensive. I'm barely hanging on by a thread most days. Have a degree and work an emotionally draining job during the week and have a second side gig that I work literally every day. I know how hard it is to just survive, but I've been busting my ass all week to make sure I had the money to do all this for my mum. She goes all out for us on our birthdays and Christmas and literally every other day of the year. I made sure to fully plan this out way in advance so my brothers could save the money for the gift and literally didn't have to do anything else but show up for dinner with our mother. So when they all just sounded super nonchalant about not having money to chip in and kind of like they just expected me to take care of everything, I lost it a little. I called my mum, didn't tell her why because I didn't want to hurt her feelings, though I'm sure she figured it out, and asked if she'd like to go to her favourite restaurant for dinner. On me, of course. She sounded excited about that. I texted the boys and told them I was taking her to dinner instead and they could come if they wanted to. They were all pretty pissed about it because they don't have the money to go. I did tell them I was picking up a cake after dinner and they could meet me at my mum's to do the cake and see her, though that didn't seem to help much. I still plan to go pick up the gift, but I'm not putting their names on it, which I feel petty about, but I'm just tired of this happening every time we do something for her. They always seem to have money and ideas for my dad. I feel like they take our mum for granted and I'm always picking up the slack, so she thinks all of us were in on whatever it was I planned. Am I the arsehole here? Should I have just carried on with the original plan? Of course, absolutely not the arsehole, and honestly, good on you for putting your foot down in this situation. You've planned this for weeks, did all the heavy lifting, you was planning to cook, the organising, you was trying to organise them at the same time and gave your brothers time to save up. That's all they had to do, literally show up with the money they knew they'd need, but they chose not to. And it sounds like the majority of this is about their attitude, the way that they're even thinking about it, because, I think if they would have turned around and said to OP that I'm really sorry, I can't do this, can I pay you back at some point in the future? All 3 of them doing that seems a bit suspect in itself, but in this hypothetical situation, I think OP would have still been understanding of it. OP seems like a very chill, understanding, nice person. But no, you're not being petty by not putting their names on the gift. You're being honest. They contributed nothing towards it, and it sounds like didn't even bother to try. But Flat says this is better. She gets to go out and eat and spend time with her daughter. Also, why should your brothers get credit they had no part in? If your mum doesn't already know, it's time she found out. Just kind of happened replies to that saying, also OP shouldn't be paying for all the food to feed her 3 brothers and presumably their SOs as well. From now on, buy your own individual gift for your mum. Take her out to eat yourself and only pay for yourself and your mum. Everyone else can buy their own gifts. Everyone else can put in the effort to celebrate your mum themselves. It's not your job to pick up the slack for them. They didn't bother saving because they thought you would take care of it for them. I'm guessing you always have. Did your parents raise you and your brothers to believe the women are the planners and party hosts and the men just show up, eat and leave? If so, stop that cycle. So, after this, OP came in with an update and said, "Hi everyone, first thank you for all the comments. I super appreciate each of you taking the time to respond. Some of it was sure tough to read, but I think I needed to hear it. Second, this is a real lengthy update, but after so many comments I figured I should give it. My mum and I had an amazing day yesterday. We went shopping, went to dinner, and I gave her the gift I got her. The woman almost did cartwheels out of the restaurant. It was just a pink KitchenAid stand-up mixer. She wanted one forever and would never buy it for herself. Seeing her so excited made all this totally worth it. Update on my brothers. They pulled their three brain cells together by the end of the day and realized why I was so upset. They ended up apologizing and promised not to let it happen again, which I appreciate, but did let them know my boundaries going forward. I plan to make this a tradition with my mum, and they're always invited to attend the dinner, but I won't be getting my hopes up for them going in on a bigger gift, nor will I rely on them to do so. I encourage them to each get a gift for my mum on their own. They can do with that what they will, but I know where I stand. They all did come over to her house afterwards for the cake. My mum definitely has bougie taste in baked goods, so the cake I got was fairly expensive, but still totally worth it to see her excited. The boys said they were going to send me money to pitch in for the cake when they get paid next week. Whether or not they actually will, I'm not sure, but I guess we'll see. I had already planned to do that on my own, so I'm not really pressed about them sending the money for that. It would be nice, but I'm not holding my breath. My mum loved the cake and loved that all of her kids, grandkids and daughter-in-laws came to sing happy birthday and hang out with her for a couple of hours. I wanted to answer some frequently asked questions too. I'm a woman and the oldest of the siblings. I'm 31. My 3 brothers are all grown, ranging in age from 23 to 29. My dad didn't know any of this was happening, mainly because him and my mum are no longer married. They've been divorced since I was 16, though I should have called him to let him know. He does not mess around about my mum and gives a very good pull your head out of your ass speech. This happened a few times in the past, as in them not putting in nearly as much effort as I have, or none for some of them, and I just go through with it anyway for my mum. But that's not happening again. This took me 31 years to set these boundaries with my brothers, but those boundaries are permanent going forward. This post is not AI, and I wish it was. It would make my life a lot easier. I'm usually the one to plan birthdays or other special occasions outside of major holidays. My parents always plan the big holidays together. They're divorced, but we still do things like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, and Halloween together as a family. I've been fairly blessed with parents who have been divorced, but are still really good friends. My brothers always have had more input on my dad because they know him better, I think. I'm close to both of my parents, but my mum is definitely my best friend. We see each other multiple times a week, just to do random stuff like go to Walmart together or whatever. We also live fairly close to each other, which makes this possible. All my brothers work with my dad every day, so they do talk all the time. Although I feel this shouldn't be an excuse not to have at least one idea. My mum gets excited by any amount of effort from anyone in her life. They could gift her a picture with her grandkids in a nice frame and she would cry for a week. Like, it doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to show you thought about her. I just wanted to do this big gift because she's been staring at this damn mixer for 2 years now. Talking about how much she wants it, but she will never buy something expensive for herself. She deserved it. I think those were the most asked questions. If you want to know anything else, feel free to ask, but also thank you all again. I needed the tough love. I've been coddling my brothers since they were born, and that's my fault. As the oldest and a very type A personality, I've always felt responsible for everyone in the family. I'm slowly learning that's not helpful to them or myself. Next Level says, first off, it sounds like you made sure your mum had a wonderful, all about her birthday. Also, you got your sibs to wake the fuck up and their attitude to their mother. But just a pink KitchenAid stand mixer. Just. That would make me do cartwheels, jumping jacks, and jazz hands all at once. That's a primo #1 first-rate gift. Kudos to you. I just had to look up what a KitchenAid was. Wow, obviously I know it's a mixer, but I often hear about these in stories and everyone's like, wow, a KitchenAid. And it being one of those fancy mixers you see in the cooking programs. I've never seen one in real life. Maybe I'm just living under a rock with that one. But yeah, I've seen those before and they do look nice, and I've kind of wanted one just because they look really fancy, I think. But good on OP for getting one of those for their mum. They are They're pretty pricey as well, it has to be said. And good on OP for putting their boundaries down. You know, in the end, those brothers, they may pull their finger out, they may not. But if OP sticks to her boundaries, her life's going to be a lot easier. And it sounds like she set up a lovely tradition with her mum at the same time, which is wonderful for both of them. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from Newly Beloved 1, who says, "Am I the arsehole for yelling at my girlfriend due to her camera roll? Me, 23 male, and my girlfriend, 21 female. Have been together for 4 months now. She's great, beautiful, crazy intelligent, and has the best personality. Genuinely my dream girl, except for one issue, her camera roll. For background, she dated a guy for 4 years in high school and the first half of college. She broke up with him last year, and has dated other people since then, leading up to me. She never really talks about him unless telling a past story about her friend group, which he was a part of until he suddenly up and left. According to her, the reason they broke up is she realized they were on 2 different levels of maturity. When I mean she's intelligent, I mean she's well known around campus and every professor adores her, and we go to a Big 12 university. She's also got life-threateningly sick, and while he was worried for her, she knew he wouldn't be responsible enough to take care of her in the future. A progressive heart disease. They ended on good terms, but don't talk anymore because he is kind of an introverted guy according to her. The part I got upset about is every time she opens her camera roll to show me a past picture, she scrolls past photos or videos of him and her. I've brought this up to her before, and she always laughs and says it's because she's too lazy to go through 30,000 photos. She hasn't deleted pictures since 2015. These photos and videos of him and her aren't romantic. They are high school shenanigans and usually involve her or other friends, but I still can't help but feel jealous. Today, she showed me a photo of her friends in 2018, telling me a funny story. He's in the photo. I said, "You have a lot of pictures with him," in an annoyed tone, and she said, "Well, yeah, he grew up with me and my friends. We were kids together. It's like a look back into my childhood." I told her I didn't like those pictures, and she offered to remove them and put them on a drive. I told her that wasn't enough. She told me they were precious memories she shared with her friends and she wasn't going to delete them just because he was in a couple. I kinda raised my voice and told her she should go back to him if the memories were precious. She got up and said, "I don't want to go back to him, but I also don't want to be with someone who is emotionally insecure. I have enough to deal with," and then left. I've debated on texting her and apologizing. Am I the arsehole? Now look, I get insecurity, seeing the ex in photos, that little bit of jealousy popping up, that's human, but the problem is she offered you a completely reasonable compromise by moving them to a drive and you rejected it because what exactly? You wanted to erase years of her life because you're uncomfortable. She's got like 30,000 photos, I think you were saying. That's over what, a decade? And this other guy was part of her friend group through her younger years. The photos aren't romantic, they're her memories with her mates, where he happens to be a part of that. Which is completely different from keeping photos where she's like maybe pining over her ex. That's not what's happening here. And I think she called you out spot on, that you're emotionally insecure. And honestly, her walking out just showed that she's got boundaries around that and she won't tolerate that kind of shit. And good for her. Wicked Lucky says you're the arsehole. She is right. You are emotionally insecure. Born Eggplant says, "No, don't apologize. I'm afraid she may take you back." You're the arsehole. Ooh. Consistent says, "You're the arsehole and deeply insecure, immature, and controlling. Your girlfriend isn't obligated to erase years of photos from before you met because of your crippling insecurity. Grow up." Icy Mortgage says, "You're debating texting her and apologizing after asking her to scrub through childhood memories because you're too insecure to accept she had a romantic history before you." Yeah, it's safe to say you're the arsehole. Like, come on, bro. Born Eggplant says debating because he's not really feeling it. If he was, there would be no debate. But he's only considering it because he wants her back, not because he knows he was wrong. I hope he doesn't apologize and she moves on. Slow Dive says you're the arsehole. She showed you a group shot that happened to have her ex in it. Asking her not to show you those pictures because they make you jealous is fair, but expecting her to scrub 4 years worth of pictures when you've known her for 4 months is a stretch. Mama Pie says, more than 4 years, at least 6. They've dated for 4 years and half of college, and they might have been friends before dating. So Opie is potentially asking her to delete memories that could cover a decade. If that's how entitled he feels after just 4 months, I can't imagine he'll get any less controlling as time goes on. Opie, yes, you're the arsehole. Most emphatically. Your jealous, unreasonable, and frankly controlling behavior is the last thing your girlfriend needs. Did you know about her heart condition before dating? You know why she ended it with her ex? Why would you think she wants to be with someone more immature and angry than her ex? You're single, and you don't know it. Work on yourself before dating again. You seem completely oblivious or indifferent to the upset you've caused. It's deeply unfair to expect any partner to accept you as you are. Opie updates the next day and says, I texted her this morning and apologized for crossing a line. She said, while she accepted the apology, the relationship wouldn't be continuing any further. She said a lack of self-awareness and emotional maturity is not something she can overlook when dating someone. So I guess I'm single now. And a lot of people after this one just pointing out 4 months in and he's already trying to rewrite her past and police her memories. So they're not surprised with this outcome. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from a deleted user. And it says, am I the arsehole here for not changing my language to appease an ignorant coworker? And just a trigger warning before we do get into this one, there's a trigger warning on it of racism, so if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. And it says, I, 34 male, work in an office in a technical field with approximately 30 co-workers and higher-ups. The problem is I have a co-worker, 28 female, Sarah. The problem started before Christmas when I went into the break room to answer a call from family overseas. We talked in my native language for about 10 minutes, about family and friends from back home, and we were wrapping up the call. When I hung up, I saw Sarah looking at me with an angry look on her face. I asked her what's wrong, and she accused me of being a racist. I was very confused, and then she said I said the N-word, which confused me even more. She ran off, and in a few minutes the HR director walked to my desk and took me to her office. After a very confusing conversation, I finally figured it out. One of the ways we say you in my native language sounds like the N-word. Like barely, but I explained this to the HR director, who was first disbelieving. After a bit of Googling on my phone, I showed her, and she relents that I am not a racist, just a fluent speaker of my native language. Then the HR director asked if there was any way I could not accept personal calls at work. I said sure, if you make it a directive that no one can. She balked at that and tried to hem and haw her way to make it so only I couldn't, but I kept gently nudging how prejudicial that sounded until she asked if there was any way I could not use that word when speaking my native language. I mused that it would be possible, but it would make sentence structure meandering and almost too formal and clunky, so I'd rather not. She said that if it was possible, maybe I should. I asked if maybe she should stop using a New England accent. She then thanked me for clearing up the misunderstanding and let me go back to work. The HR director before the holiday break sent out an email explaining that there was a misunderstanding due to the use of foreign language in the office and that we should respect everyone's cultures. A very open-ended and vague email that solved nothing. My family rarely calls me at work simply because it's nighttime when I work, and then only call during my birthday and holidays, so this is not really going to be an issue. And I would rather not try to find a way to dance around saying you in a conversation. I told the story to my friends during a Christmas party, and one person asked if it really was a hill worth dying on. Am I the arsehole here for not trying to compromise with HR? Oh my word, that is just so stupid. What you said was perfect actually, by pointing out the absurdity of asking you to stop saying the word you and comparing it to the HR director to drop her accent. You highlighted exactly how unreasonable that was. And the person asking you, is this the hill worth dying on? I mean, you didn't even do nothing. You're just speaking your native language. to your family. That's so wild. I mean, you shouldn't even be a part of this conversation. You know, if Sarah or HR have any further issues that they need to work on, whether that's Sarah educating herself about other languages they actually existing in this world, or HR developing some kind of backbone, instead of what OP said, saying, just sending a vague email that achieved absolutely nothing. Loving Wisdom says, not the arsehole. Tell them you will happily stop using the word you in your native language if they stop using the word you in their native language. It may drive home how stupid the idea is. Duncan says it's 100% worth dying on this hill. A word in my language sounds close to, but isn't even exactly sounding like a slur in your language, so I'm forbidding from having a normal conversation. If it had to be spelled out how absurd it is, you've lost the plot. Insist that any HR policy that applies to you applies to everyone in 100% of the work situations. That's only fair. You didn't violate an HR policy. They concluded you didn't violate an HR policy. Why are they trying to do anything? Acknowledging anything implies you might have been wrong, and you're not wrong. Commodore says, not the arsehole. You have the right to speak whatever language you want on your break time. Also, once the misunderstanding was explained, that should have been the end of the matter. Musketeer says, what's more, yes, this is the hill to die on. I think OP handled it perfectly. OP came in with an update and says, so updates. When we got back from holiday break, HR asked me to speak with her again. She asked if I had time to think about being more respectful of Sarah's culture. I asked what she was talking about, and she said that since Sarah and her culture are what was offended, I was the one that had to be mindful about taking corrective behavior to not offend her. I said, that's not how this works, and asked, what does the law actually say about this? She kept saying things like, I didn't have a history of challenging management, which is true because 99% of the time, management is sane. Finally, she relented, said that there was nothing corrective I had to do, and I went back to my desk. At lunch last week, in the break room, Sarah sat down across from me and asked why I used hateful language. I told her what the word I used meant. I also explained that I rarely call home, and the word isn't offensive because it sounds like a different word. She said the sound itself was offensive, and I must accommodate because this was America, and that sound has a history. I told her again, no. I will not submit to unequal, discriminatory rules at the workplace. Sarah went into a big spiel about oppression and ended it with, you don't understand because Koreans weren't never oppressed. Yes, that's how she said it. Tell that to my grandparents, was the last thing I said. Later that day, HR sent another message request. I sent back, if this is about the break room, I'm going to include my lawyer. The meeting request was cancelled a few minutes later. Nearly everyone else at work doesn't seem to care about all this drama, thankfully. Only Sarah and the HR lady seem to care. Connect says, are Sarah and the HR manager friends by any chance? Damn it, Gravity says, I'm also curious about Sarah's race. This feels like white virtue signaling. Opie says Sarah is black. Her family is from the West Coast. No Broccoli says, oh, I get it now, and you're Korean. I know the sound, and it'd be so hard to avoid saying when speaking Korean. I forget the meaning, but it's just something like I am or you are, or something completely and totally innocuous. Can't believe Sarah had issues after you explained it. Limerick says, Psy even did a whole speech about it during a concert because it can be a shock for Western K-pop fans. And OP's account was gone, basically. And obviously this was from a deleted account, so unless a new account is created for an update in the future, that is going to be the end of that. But I just hope that OP is writing everything down in this situation and documenting everything, because that is absolutely wild. I don't know the full ins and outs of office politics and stuff like that, but I wonder if at this point OP should be going above or getting someone else involved, because HR in this situation just seems to be continuing to shoot themselves in the foot time and time again. It's absolutely wild, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, over on the socials, someone suggested this story from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit to me. Doesn't have an update as yet, it's only recently posted from Melodic Cockroach 23 from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. And it says, am I the arsehole for not wanting to eat my parents' meals while pregnant, even though they're trying to help me save money? I, 28 female, am pregnant, and my husband, 31 male, and I live in our own house right next to my parents. To help us save money, my parents often buy groceries and cook dinners for all four of us, which I appreciate. The problem is my dad is extremely controlling and picky about food. He only likes a few very basic meals, like plain chicken and rice, pork chops with a ton of butter, canned vegetables, etc. When he finds something he likes, he will make it multiple times a week, so we eat the same 4 or 5 meals on rotation constantly. If I suggest something different, like not having green beans 3 days in a row, he shuts it down with nah, it's better this way. He also complains or claims food makes him sick if it isn't done exactly how he wants. Unless he doesn't know what's in it, then suddenly it's the best thing ever. He claims chicken broth upsets his stomach when I use it to cook pasta. But if I use it without him knowing, it's the best pasta he has ever had. I've had strong food aversions with my pregnancy, and about 5 of the 6 meals he makes now make me gag. When I turn something down, he says things like, "You used to like it," or "You have ate it that way for 30 years. I never actually liked it. I just ate it because it was what my parents made me as a kid. My mum asked me to help plan dinners for the week. But when I suggest things I can tolerate, my dad says it's too complicated, too expensive, or that he doesn't know how to get the ingredients. I even offer to cook if he buys the ingredients, and I write him a specific list. But we go back to his tiny list of meals because it's too complicated. We all 4 take turns cooking at our own houses, but no matter who cooks, my dad complains all night about the food if it isn't like plain, unseasoned chicken. When I was a kid, when we went out to a fast food place and I wanted a chicken sandwich, he would insist we all get burgers because it was easier, and even chose everyone's toppings without letting me pick mine differently. We would order 3 identical burgers and I'd just have to eat it. My mum gets defensive when I turn down options they give me, and is like, "We're trying." But it's not like I'm asking them to make lobster and steak dinners every night. For example, we plan on making chicken pie this weekend, and I asked Dad if we could cook the chicken on the George Foreman grill and season it before, and he adamantly was like, "No, chicken pie has boiled chicken." I can see how I'd be the arsehole if I was asking for expensive, crazy meals, but I'm not. I'm just asking or making suggestions to season or make the foods better. Edit to add. There was some confusion. We eat with them because they offered and it makes my mum happy. We do not need to eat with them, nor do we rely on them for our meals. We're capable of making our own meals and paying for our own groceries. I do not expect my parents to feed us, and I appreciate the offer and meals they do make for us. In fact, my husband and I cook for all 4 of us twice a week. My post is more explaining they want us over, but get upset when we decide otherwise due to my food aversions. Mum phrased it as saving money for the baby, but really, it was a bid for attention to spend more time together. Nah, absolutely not, but I think the thing is, in the end, you're a couple of adults and you need to make the choice of just eating for yourselves from now on. I know there's little benefits like saving money and etc., but if you're pregnant and it's making things harder for you, then you just need to put your foot down in this situation. And don't get me wrong, I know it's difficult when it's your own family, and it's very easy for me to sit here behind a microphone going, "Oh yeah, this is what you should do. You need to put your foot down with your parents," after you've been dealing with this for your whole life. But at some point, when it's making you this uncomfortable, etc., it needs to be done. Mimi says, not the arsehole, but Jesus, just stop eating with them. They're going to complain and whine either way. At least you can be eating what you like while they're complaining. Are you going to subject your child to the same crap that you dealt with? Decot says, they didn't have autism back in his day. Slender says, you're an adult and about to be a parent. Stop all of this. Make your own food. Buy your own groceries. Your child is going to end with an ED if you don't stop with all of this. I don't know how you convinced your husband to move in next to your parents, but I hope he figures out this is not a good idea. Everyone sucks here. Maleficent says, honestly, you're about to be a parent. You're going to have to learn to stick up for yourself. If not for you, then for your child. You shouldn't have to pretend to like food you don't enjoy just to avoid hurting your parents' feelings. This arrangement is no longer working for you. It's okay to just tell them. Not the arsehole, but honestly bordering on everyone sucks here because you should have said something a long time ago. Commenter says, Mom, you're nearly 30 and your father is neurodivergent. Stop holding space for his behavior. When he starts to complain, kick him out or leave and feed yourself. And one more comment from Murderous Intention who says you're the arsehole to yourself. Girl, you're married and about to be a mother. Put your foot down. Say your pregnancy is making some foods hard to be around and you will not be going to their house for supper as long as they make it. Thank them for their invitation, but decline. If they throw a fit, then they will prove that they care more about what they eat than you. And that personally isn't people I'd want to be around. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What would you do in this situation? Put yourself in OP's shoes. Is there another way around it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, at the very end of the video, there'll be a couple of playlists that you can click on. It will automatically scroll through all those videos for you. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully. Much love, guys. Bye-bye.